Well, hello and welcome to You Talk Funny, which is a little experiment that the Winnipeg Comedy Festival is doing to mark its 25th anniversary. We're just sitting down with some of the great comedy minds of this nation who come to the festival and just talking about the business of being funny. And this today is a particular highlight for anybody who follows the festival because we were joined by Richard Side and Steve Patterson, who are, of course, who embody the debaters. Gentlemen, welcome.
Oh,
Welcome to both
thank
of
you.
you.
Thanks, Brad. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So this is kind of a milestone, not just for the festival, but also for the debaters, because is it the
20 years.
20th year of
20th anniversary.
and
Yeah.
and a lot of people probably don't know that, like, the debaters was kind of born here,
I
right?
was born here. Absolutely. It was, Tom Anico, you must.
I do, yes.
Yeah, and he came around to Vancouver, getting ideas for shows or whatever, and that's when I pitched him in December of 2005. And I'd already had this show idea circulating, but he said, "Yeah, let's give it a go." And that we piloted it here in early 2026 or 26, 20,
Early. Do the math. Do the math, Richard.
2006,
2006 sounds right.
600% ago.
So at the time, I think it was almost like a concept that, if I recall correctly, it was a concept that kind of hung a little bit on it, like its cheeky name, because it was not just the debaters.
Yes,
right?
it was Master Debaters.
Come on, Richard.
I don't know why.
The
I'm
ma-
so
the Master
juvenile.
Debaters.
That was
The
that was
indefinite
very
article
very
is still there.
comedy festival, but it came as kind of a concept. I think it was still finding what it was going to be.
A little bit.
Um, do you feel like in that first iteration at this festival that you knew, like, what it was going to be and what its potential was?
It took off right away. I mean, it just kind of clicked. Comedians weren't sure. They were used to being alone on stage.
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden they're, with other people, including the moderator and who was Sean Majumder at
That's
that
right.
first taping.
Right.
It was born without me.
It was born
I'm
with
like, I don't know if I'm the
You're
stepdad.
adopted.
You're God. Sean's Jesus. I'm Joseph. I don't even know how it happened.
Yes.
late to the party. So I'm interested in sort of the conception of it all, because, like, if you wrote it down on paper and you said you were going to pitch it to a comedy festival, the notion of a debate, like, sort of as people think of debate club in high school,
Yeah.
and then comedy, it doesn't immediately feel like it's a fit. So what was it about it in your mind, Richard, that like made you think that this could be something?
If I may, Steve.
Buddy, I'm used to this. I'm in the middle. Two people talk. I throw in what I can. Go ahead. This is your baby.
Well,
Please.
My background is improv. I was an early member of Vancouver Theatre Sports League back from '81. With people like Colin Mockery, probably the first time I stepped on stage. He was
Okay.
on stage. And we, in those early years, we experimented with different formats, talk shows, game shows. We did a murder mystery, a theater sports Hamlet. A lot of semi-scripted audience interactive formats. So I understood
Right.
that if you had the right little recipe and an audience where there were stakes and going to choose the winner, that all the pieces were there. And comics, I remember seeing a lot of comics just in front of curtains or, brick walls or whatever, and
Yeah.
thought there could be a way to utilize all that writing, performing talent. So in a way, it was all that, I was 20 years in my career at that point.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
always forget how old you are. You're like 97. You're
I
97
am.
years old, right?
I am.
Almost 100.
It's my beauty regime.
You started as a child.
So you come from improv, which is by its nature a very collaborative exercise.
Collaborative.
But now you're asking stand-ups who work alone to come in and be part of a team concept. I'm sure that was not the easiest sell at the beginning.
There was some trepidation on the part of some comics. They would go in there and, what is this? I don't know. I work alone. And then they would go, this was made for me. And I'd be like, yeah, it was made for you. So but over the years, and I think Steve will attest to this too, is that comedy in general has become more collaborative with podcasts and improv and alternative comics, and the whole community is kind of melded and meshed together.
Right.
So maybe we were a little ahead of that curve.
So year 3, I guess it is, Steve arrives, right?
Year 2.
Year
Was it
two.
year
Yeah,
2?
I guess year
That's
two.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Sean had other commitments and was making a name for himself. So we were left in the lurch and auditioned a bunch of people for the part. And Steve just kind of owned it day one. And it was like, holy moly, we got something.
Well, it's hard now to think of the debaters without Steve
I
because
try to all the time. I think, remember when,
yeah.
Richard
you're right.
loves the show without.
Sean was nice, wasn't he? Yeah. No,
No,
but like
really,
it's sort
absolutely.
of become the part of the fabric and character of the exercise.
Yeah.
What was it in that you say like he nailed the audition? What was it that made it seem like he was going to be the guy, and when was it apparent that like that was the right choice?
Well, I remember it was Tom Anico again, who was really pitching
Co-founder
hard.
of the Winnipeg Comedy Festival, by the
God
way.
bless you, Tom.
One of the founders, yeah, and CBC guy, and he was working with you on trying to get you into
Something
a
else. Yeah, yeah.
pilot
We
and
just did
that.
a pilot of something in Halifax.
But
Yeah.
I have to give credit to Tom for seeing that fit, and then I think it's a combination of the spontaneity, which Steve does wonderfully, just reacting to what's going on. He doesn't even see the debates beforehand or anything like that, so he can. I'm going to describe your philosophy and your
Please.
work process.
My work or lack thereof. Yes. Yeah.
And then it's just that personable thing with the audience too, which is amazing. It's like Steve is sort of like in every person. He's their way in to the whole thing, as you well know. And he's very generous with an audience, and all of that worked.
So
And
Steve,
then it's jokes and comedy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but the puns, which are, I mean, I don't want to skip ahead, but to be a stand-up and have a show where someone else is writing a lot of things for you to do is a unique perspective. So I
Sure.
like it.
So you come into this as a stand-up, and like it's a format. Did you know immediately that this was going to be a good fit for you?
I loved the show. I listened to the show before I started hosting it and before I even did a debaters, and I thought this is a great idea. And when it clicks, it really clicks. My favorite part in the first listening of the show was the firing line questions, where it's just a really funny answer that you would never think of. And I think it was Erwin Barker was the first debate that I heard
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
giving answers. And so I really wanted to be a part of the show immediately. And I attended tapings before I even did one and thought, listen to this. This is an element above stand-up. So I would love to do it. And when I first guest hosted, I just had a really good time. And I thought, I hope I get to do this again. I didn't know it would be 20 years of shows again, but I'm super, super grateful that it is.
Well, it does play to your strengths. Like there are probably quite a few people who hear you or see you live in the debaters format who've never seen your stand up. But it like this is a show that it really plays to your strengths as a solo performer. Like talk a little bit about how you sort of adapt the persona that you built as a stand up and fit it into what the debaters is and has become.
Well, for me personally, again, we were a little ahead of the curve with this show, because now you watch a debater or a comedian's clip online and they're dying for the audience to say something so that they can have a clip, because they don't want to burn material. And that was just always kind of the way that I did stand up. I would have an idea of where I wanted it to go, but if an audience member said something, I would roll with it. And this was just a natural evolution of, I'm going to start the show this way, and then the comedians are going to say something. I don't know what they're going to say, so it's going to be a fresh reaction to that. And I think that's why the secret sauce of the show is that we have an idea of what we might say, but we don't know exactly. And the element that the show can go off the rails at any time, and often does, I think gives a freshness to it that you don't often see in stand up. It's a bringing the improv to stand up, which I love that way. I don't like it when a comedian goes up and does the same show that they would do for a room full of people, or whether there was no one there at all. I like when stand-ups react to the room, you know? So
Yeah.
this show really has it for me.
And there are a lot of comedians who absolutely thrive in the debaters format,
Yes.
but uh, I'm guessing that, like, for comics that are coming in to do the show for the first time, there's a learning curve because they might be coming in thinking like, "I wanna win this debate," and it's really not about it's like a professional wrestling match.
A little bit.
It's like somebody's gonna win, but everybody has to take some knocks in order for the show to be good, right?
Yeah. You can't fully take out the competitiveness out of it, and so we're kind of utilizing that with the comedians. They wanna do well
Yeah.
for an audience, and some maybe care too much sometimes, a little bit. It's not frequent, but
No,
but but
that probably happens with new people, right? That they care too much.
I don't know about that. What do you think? New people are going to win?
I would rather have a newer comic on the show that buys into the concept and really enjoys it than a veteran comic that doesn't quite understand the show. And we've had some of those, and
Really?
they're great comics. They don't work out as debaters because they don't share the stage well, and you have to be able to share the stage well on this show.
Yeah.
It is, as you've said, it's like a three-person play at its best,
Yeah.
an improvised play. So, you know, we've had comedians on that have, you know, they're great stand-ups, but it gets to the bare knuckle. They don't quite get it. They don't they don't know how to roll with another comedian's input,
Yeah.
and you know, and it hasn't happened often. And our best debaters are the ones that come back again and again and have learned it. But I will say I would rather have a person new to comedy that comes on and wants to do this show and listens to it and gets it than a veteran comic that thinks they're above it. We've had it a few times. It's never gone well for them. So, and I'm not going to name names, but it's pretty apparent.
And I think we've over the years created a community of like hundreds of comics
Oh,
actually
sure.
Yeah.
who understand the format and know that they're going to work with their debating partner.
Yeah.
They want the debating partner to look good. They want themselves to succeed. So
Right.
there's a kind of a enthusiasm and a shorthand
Yeah.
that starts to happen in the green room, you know, before the debate. They want to set each other up for laughs.
And to push the perhaps tortured, professional wrestling analogy a little
Yeah.
farther, it's helpful to a debate if somebody is eager to play the heel,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like a debate works better if someone is the contrarian, is somebody who's like a little prickly, right?
Yep.
And like it just makes
Yeah.
the slap fight more entertaining.
100% buys into it. I was going to say that we have a few villains. Hunter Collins comes to mind,
Yeah.
like really
How
embraces
about
it.
Lara Ray?
Lara's
How many has she
fantastic.
won?
I know, unintentionally. I know. I know.
Unintentionally.
Yeah, when
So
Lara
she's
wins,
right.
it's a pleasant surprise to Lara because she goes in wanting to alienate the crowd in some regard. And I mean, obviously that's, you know, it's a better fight when people really just go all out. Arthur Simeon did one for us where he had to debate that Canada should be the 51st state pretty recently.
Oh,
He knows he's going to lose going into that, but you know, you just have to kind of lean in with a little wink,
Yeah,
and people do that really well.
Here's the twist. So Derek Sagan years ago in Toronto debated that, I don't know if it was Toronto sucks or something like that, and he won in Toronto. So sometimes the audience will just enjoy, you know, the
I think it might have been Ottawa. Ottawa kind of knows they suck. Toronto doesn't want to admit
actually,
it.
we were in Glencoe. I'm going to go back into the
No, we're gonna
archives
debate.
and prove it.
We're just going to start doing city debates.
Darn.
Ottawa versus Toronto. Which one sucks more? This is terrible. We'll
so
never win.
it's interesting to me how completely the Canadian comedy community has embraced the debaters. It has become, because of buy-in, it has become a sort of a perpetual motion machine. You're never going to be short of available talent, and you're never going to be short of topics. And you can make, like you say, you can make you know, Canadian sovereignty like a funny half show, or you can make, you know, comparing fruit,
Yes.
like,
Apples versus oranges,
right,
which we have done.
Which we
yeah, like
Which is
it
one
we
of
can
my
move on. We could
favorites.
move on to other fruits though.
Bananas versus grapes.
Kumquats. Our
so
kumquats are
is in the selection of topics and, you know, pairing, debaters with the topics, is there times that it's challenging, or are there times where when you think like, okay, this could be funny, but it would be most funny if we had comic A and comic B specifically doing this one.
I have to give credit now to the current CBC team that are picking topics and pairing Nicole, Graham,
Yeah.
Dean, uh,
Lee
uh,
Pitts. Shout out Lee Pitts.
shout out to Lee Pitts, the exec. And I think when we first did the pilots, I did 4 topics, 2 shows. I thought, well, that's it. Run, that's it. How could, now what? So, you know, 1,000, how many debates?
I don't know, Richard.
1,000
I
debates.
just keep showing up and hoping it's still on.
But, you know, you try to anticipate what chemistry there might be between the comedians, and there might already be chemistry.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you pull a topic out of that comics act.
Yes.
Ivan has this whole rant on microwaves, Ivan Decker. So
Yeah.
he should debate. And then you get to use all that material, you know,
Repurposing.
repurpose, which is the key to success in the entertainment business. I think, and then, you know, sometimes the topic will just lift beyond your expectations that you can't really anticipate how good it can be.
I will say, like, the less stakes that the audience would inherently have in the topic, the more free it is for both sides. I mean, apples versus oranges, no one really cares, I don't think. So both can take their own. And then, but sometimes, you know, the audience, the crowd wants to vote for a topic going in because, you know, and that makes it really tough for the other debater. So they either embrace that or they don't.
But as you say, sometimes like they could go in on the absolute guaranteed losing end and just find a little bit of comedic magic, and, you know, audience says, okay.
Yeah, Canadians are empathetic. So sometimes, you know, you're just let's throw them a bone. They deserve to win this. And not a lot of people know this, but the loser doesn't get paid, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's
They
how
go
we do it.
tarred and feathered.
Yeah. The winner gets their
Shunned.
It's like missing the cut at a golf tournament.
That's right. The winner gets their fee as well. So the winning debater always gets over $14 from CBC.
So you gave a kind of a shout out to the CBC sort of just in passing. But one of the things when I was thinking about this that occurred to me was that it's the existence of a public broadcaster that sort of has a diversity of programming that makes the debaters possible, because in commercial television or commercial radio, this never happens, right?
Yeah, we're so lucky. We're so lucky that it's still going and going relatively strong. And back in the day,
Sorry, that's my next one-person show. Relatively strong. The Steve
the
Patterson story.
CBC,
Steve Patterson, a little bit funny.
and we're
Can
kind of
still make a
lucky
fist.
to the degree that, you know, I hate to say it, but less development is going into new shows.
Yeah.
I mean, because Winnipeg Comedy Festival was a key place where new formats and new shows were being workshopped and presented,
Yeah.
piloted. But a lot of that interest and money has gone into podcasts now.
Yeah.
Right.
No offense.
Podcasts.
We're on YouTube.
But
But online's it's never gonna stick.
But you know, so we're lucky in that. But I certainly would be encouraging of CBC going back to trying, you know, putting a little development money and then bringing new formats to audiences. And also, you know, we have a podcast.
We do?
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is the thing. And I think the show is so good and it's so sticky and you can binge on it. It would just be great to have it move out into larger and larger audiences with the podcast.
Right.
That would be my hope and my wish.
It seems to me that, and this was, I guarantee, not your intention when you sort of formulated the concept for this, but there's like this perfection in the concept now, because the show is by its nature funny. The cast is uniformly entertaining, but you have an inexhaustible supply of cast members. You
Yeah.
move the tapings around the country, so you never wear out your welcome. Every time you land somewhere, it's gonna sell out because people love the debaters, and they never get sick of it because it doesn't come around that often. It's like there's
Oh, yeah.
the way that it has been structured, whether you intended it or not,
Yeah.
has made it, as I said before, like a perpetual motion machine.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to think that this will ever run out of steam, right?
Isn't that right, CBC?
Yeah,
It will
yeah,
never run out of steam.
you're
It will go on forever.
no, but
These aren't the debaters you're looking for.
don't you think that, like, there's some,
I
logic to what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely. I mean, it's a miracle, I have to say. I think it
no,
is, getting back
I
into
don't
the
think that's
biblical
unfair.
I mean it in a
references.
good way. I mean, it's a little unfair because a miracle, I think you have to be there's gotta be it's like a deity. There's some sort of the Catholics will tell you, but it's, from a Canadian entertainment perspective, it's very unique. We've been on longer than the Beachcombers, Brad.
Is that true?
That's a
I didn't
CBC
hear
miracle.
about that.
Relic, that's who you remind me of.
CBC miracle. I am. I started out Bruno Gerussi, but I'm morphing into Relic as it goes. Um, the reason that I think the show has the success it does because we go all over the country. We don't just tape in a studio in one place. And honestly, we have to give a shout out to the Winnipeg Comedy Festival's role in growing it
Yeah.
and making it, giving it a home every year as a festival home. It's it just made sense that all the comedians are here. Let's see who can do debates
Sure, yeah,
and there's something about Winnipeg being central that we'll go to certain stops every couple of years and we'll go around the country, but we always come to Winnipeg because it's the original home, and there's just something about it that Winnipeg punches above its weight. Honestly, I think in
Yeah.
comedically and just in the
Culturally
arts
in
world, and
general.
yeah,
And
but
as an
seriously,
arts reporter, you know that
well,
fully
I was once, sure, yeah.
once an arts reporter, always an arts
and
reporter.
remain so.
So, eh, as the show goes forward, like, first of all, Steve, you've obviously sort of come to a certain level of comfort with being the debaters guy, right? You're a working comedian, but a lot of people see you as the host of the show, probably to the exception of everything else. That this has become a good place for you to be as a performer?
Yeah, I've kind of grown into it. I mean, when I first started, I was the youngest CBC host in history, probably because I wasn't 50, and just kidding.
Keyword Fred
I'm
Davis.
sure there are some child hosts on CBC. Um,
Front page challenge shout out. Nice. Sorry.
uh, no, I really I have kind of grown into loving the CBC audience because people show up with their. It's one of the few shows you can show up with your kids at
Yeah.
a comedy show and everyone's laughing, not always at the same things, but they're always laughing. And I have so many people come up to me now that are like, my parents brought me to a taping of this when I was 10 and I didn't know what was happening. Well, they're 30 now, and some of them have their own kids, and they're bringing
Yeah, that's
those kids.
awesome.
It's the only comedy product I know of where whole families go and
Yeah.
keep coming, and people want to be on the radio. It's a charming little thing, the radio or the podcast of like they want to hear the debates that they attended because they want to hear what actually made it to the final cut, and they're invested in it, and they're a character on the show. If we didn't have a live audience, it would be not the same show.
Oh, no, it's definitely a live audience
Yeah.
show. And do you think that, like, lots of people listen to it on the radio and never go to a taping? Like, I'm sure you would highly recommend if it comes to your town, because the live taping is like, there's a vibe to it that's much different than the radio show, right?
Oh,
You wanna go there?
absolutely. All the bloopers or whatever, the behind the scenes action and it's like behind the curtain to a certain degree when you come to a taping.
Yeah.
And then you might hear something a little cheeky that might not make it to air, and the interaction between Steve and the producers and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's adds an extra level of entertainment for sure.
So it seems to me, it's sort of in closing, that the show has been around for 20 years and it's here for the 25th. Like, it might be more relevant now than ever, because, like, if you think about it, post-COVID, people
Yeah,
came back into the world so polarized and so angry a lot of the time. Like, the notion of having a civil conversation and an agreeable disagreement is almost quaint at this point, and the debaters sort of takes people back into that space where, like, you can disagree with somebody and not
nice,
wanna punch them in the head, right?
Yeah,
nice,
I think
nice.
arguing can be fun if done in the right way, and there's a mutual respect on both sides, you know, and I think that, I'm just I'm proud that this show is still showing that, and it's showcasing Canadian comics, you know? It's some of the comics that we have on the show in different regions don't tour that much throughout Canada. Some we've helped to kinda grow into a place where they can tour, and that's a really, point of pride for me because I think Canadian comedy is funnier than any other English-speaking comedy in the world, certainly in this, continent, and I would love to see when, Canadian comics go on the road, they get the same support as, you know, the comedians from down in the country in our basement. So, I encourage everyone to come to a Debaters taping or any live Canadian show, especially if it's at the Winnipeg Comedy Festival, now celebrating its 25th anniversary here in Winnipeg.
What a way to end it. Gentlemen, thanks.
Thank you,
We're on
Brad.
YouTube.